What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to more Dead by Daylight. Now we have a killer tier list video for you guys today. I'm very excited. If you guys don't know, I usually do one of these every single new chapter just because something's always changing. We have a new killer. Sometimes they buff killers, sometimes they nerf killers. Something's always changing in DVD almost every single chapter. So that's the reason why I make these. And also, if you guys haven't checked out my old killer tier list video, it'll be down in the description below. But this one's going to be a little different just because I am going to add another ranking in here, which is going to be the B+ category, just so I can be a little more specific when it comes to where I think these killers stand. So that's the reason for that. Of course, everyone's going to have their own opinion on which killer is better, which killer is worse. But if you guys think I should maybe take a second look at a killer at the end of this video, if you think I should maybe move up a killer or maybe move down a killer, let me know down in the comments. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, of course, there's the big debate between which is the best killer, which is always between Nurse and Spirit, guys. Spirit does belong in S tier, of course. I'm going to get that out of the way. The potential, her power is just absolutely insane. When you go into a game, let's be honest, if you've been playing DVD for a long time, you go into a game and you just hear the vacuum cleaner just turn on, you know you're in for a ride. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, S tier is going to be Spirit. This is another highly, like I said, this is very debatable, okay? There's a lot of people always fighting in the comments when it comes to this debate, whether Nurse or Spirit is the best killer. I'm just going to go ahead and leave Nurse in S tier. I do want to say I have a lot less fun going up against a Spirit, so I do want to kind of lean a little more towards Spirit, but that does not mean that the Nurse is not S tier material either. So I'm going to go ahead and leave both of them right there. Also, I just want to add on top of it that when it comes to Nurse, yes, you don't really have to worry about pallets. You don't really have to worry about walls or distance that much. But if you're an experienced survivor going up against a Nurse, I'd rather much go up against a Nurse than the Spirit. That's all I'm saying, okay? You can kind of mind trick her when it comes to using her power. So if you're an experienced survivor, you kind of know how to kind of fake her out. But dude, I don't have fun going up against Spirit. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'd rather much go up against a Nurse than a Spirit. That's all I'm just gonna end it right there, okay? So that's pretty much it for S rank, guys. These two killers is just untouchable when it comes to these other two killers. But let's go ahead and move on to A. And the first A killer I'm gonna go ahead and put here is the Oni-chan. All right, we all know him, we all love him. He's a badass, and he's just really good, okay? An unstoppable force. You can get from point A to point B really fast if you guys collect enough blood orbs and all that good stuff. He's just a really good killer, okay? Keeping the pressure is something that this killer can really do very well. And let's not forget the fact that once he does collect enough blood orbs, he turns to one-shot killer. That's all I'm saying, all right? Next up in the A tier list is my boy, the one, the only, the killer with a sniper rifle with the insane lunge, Freddy. All right, the Nightmare. I love Freddy. Has a lot of potential. He can do a lot of things. He can teleport from point A to point B, so he has a lot of map pressure. Some people even say Freddy is an S tier killer. I want to go as far as that. I don't think that Freddy does belong in S tier along with these two other killers, but he's very close. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. He's very close. If you guys play enough Freddy, know how to use his power very well when it comes to the pallets, when it comes to the pools of blood and all that stuff. He can be extremely destructive and end the game within minutes, okay? So A tier Freddy, that's where he belongs. And it doesn't stop at that when it comes to A tier killers. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Billy into the mix. Of course, I think this is exactly where I put him in my last tier list video. Literally, even with the adjustments he had not that long ago, he's still a top tier killer in my opinion, okay? You can get from point A to point B really fast with the sprint. He's a one-shot killer. He's overall really good, okay? He's an OG killer and it belongs in A tier. And you know who else belongs in A tier, guys? Bunny Mom. Good old Bunny Mom and her hatchets, all right? Huntress, we all know her, we all love her, we all hate her at the same time. She can literally cross map you with her hatchets. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is why she's an A tier. She is a very strong killer, very fun as well, and very destructive, okay, guys? Huntress can literally end games within minutes, okay? Especially if you know how to use her, especially equipped with the right perks as well. I know a lot of people like rocking barbecue with Huntress just because once you do hook a survivor, It'll show the auras of the other survivors, and you can just go ahead and throw a hatchet that way and injure them or down them depending on their health state. And it's ridiculous, man. Okay, Huntress is definitely a top tier killer, and no one can say otherwise. And also, guys, you can probably tell by now that I'm going through this killer tier list a little fast. That's just because, like I said before, I do make one of these every single chapter release. So unless a killer gets just adjusted, buffed, or nerfed out of nowhere, these killers are kind of going to be a little similar than my last tier list video. And of course, if you guys want to check that out, it'll be down in the description below. But just letting you guys know, there is one more killer that does belong in A tier, in my opinion. And that is going to be Pyramid Head from the Silent Hill chapter, guys. This is an absolute monster of a killer and a badass, let's be honest. Okay, he literally has so much potential. He has a lot of things built in one package. He even has a projectile, even though it is a short distance projectile, still projectile nonetheless. He can send you to the gulag. He can do a lot of things. Okay, he is a very, very good killer. Definitely belongs in A tier. Nowhere lower than that, in my opinion, at least. But anyway, let's go ahead and keep going. And that's pretty much gonna do it for A tier killer, guys. This next killer is gonna be the first one in B+. That's another reason why I did put the B+ there. B+ tier is because it can be a little more specific when it comes to certain killers. So first one is gonna be the Hag, guys. The Hag is gonna be the first one in B+ in my opinion. I don't think she is that up to par when it comes to these A tier killers. I think she is very close. She is very, very strong. I don't think she's weak at all. She's a very strong killer overall, especially with her traps. It's all about positioning and where she puts her traps around the map, so which means she has a lot of map pressure. She can literally teleport from one side of the map to the other side of the map if a survivor does activate her trap. So she is very, very good. So the next killer I do think belongs right next to Hag is going to be the Slinger, a very good killer. I don't think he belongs on the lower half of anyone's tier list, or I think maybe you're not using his power correctly. But anyway, very good killer. Definitely makes up for distance. If the survivor's in a healthy state, he can reel them in, bring them to the injured state. If they're in the injured state, reel them in again. Go ahead and bring them to the dying state. Like I said before, it makes up for distance and ends chases very quickly. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and put him in B+ tier. So next killer that belongs in B+ right next to Slinger and the Hag is gonna be Ghostface. I do think he is the better stalker killer in the game, okay, just because of his potential. And when it comes to his power, he can crouch, he can be very stealthy, he can lean behind things to bring you into the exposed Statix effect and just one-shot you. I think he's very, very good in my opinion. Definitely doesn't belong anywhere near below B tier, so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and put him in B+. And it doesn't stop at that. The next killer in the B+ tier is going to be the Doctor. I think he's very good. I love playing Doctor. He is very fun, okay? Especially when it comes to his power change that they did a long time ago. Made him way better. And also, when it comes to his power, guys, if you time it correctly, you can keep a survivor from dropping a pallet or from vaulting, which makes things so much better and just ends chases a lot more quickly, okay? So they can't really loop as much when it comes to you playing the Doctor, if you play him correctly. Okay, so I do think there's one more killer I'm gonna go ahead and put in the B+ tier, and that is gonna be Bubba. I love Bubba. Very, very fun to use in game. His power is absolutely destructive. Okay, he can end chases quickly with that short speed boost when he does use his power, and he can also literally down everyone, every single survivor with one swoop if they're all in one area, and if you do use your charges correctly. Okay, I love Bubba. He's absolutely insane, a destructive force, and that's why I'm gonna go ahead and put him B+. And no, I don't use Insidious Bubba in the basement, okay? And if I play Survivor and I do go up against one of those Bubbas, it's a terrifying game. That's all I'm saying. It is a terrifying game when you go in the basement and steal his item in the chest. Leaving it at that. So the very first killer I'm going to go ahead and put in B tier is going to be the Blight. I love the Blight, or the pinball killer I like to call him. He's overall really good. I don't think he is on par with these other killers over here like Freddy, Slinger, Ghostface, Pyramid Head. So I'm going to go ahead and leave him right here in B tier. Overall, he's really good, especially from getting point A to point B really quickly if you use his charges, his power correctly. So you can definitely end chases really fast if you get around to using his power correctly. I know I had a lot of trouble using this killer at first, but once you do get used to him, you can be a very, very good killer. And speaking of new killers, we have the twins. For this video, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put them in B tier. I am a little skeptical right now putting them in B plus or maybe even C tier. I don't think they're A tier or S tier material. If it was PTB and they were first showing off this killer, I definitely would have put them at least C tier, okay? That's for sure, 100%. But ever since the adjustments when it comes to the power and Victor now being able to basically keep the survivors in lockers, that kind of bumped them up a little bit for me to at least B tier. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave them there. Really, it's all about positioning when it comes to this killer, whether it's with Victor or with Charlotte. Especially with Victor, it shows off their location of nearby survivors. Okay, this killer can do a lot. That's all I'm saying. They can do a lot. It's just really all about positioning and using the power very well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep it in the middle and keep them in B tier. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep it going with the B tier killers, guys. Next up is going to be Myers. I love Myers. It's absolutely hilarious and terrifying going up against this killer at the same time whenever I do play Survivor. But when it comes to his power, guys, I do think Ghostface is the better stalker killer just because of his potential. When it comes to his power, he can do a lot more. But that doesn't mean that Myers is not a destructive force, especially when you go above tier 2, okay? That's all I'm saying. Myers is really good, overall really good killer. I don't think it belongs in the lower half of the tier list at all, or anyone's tier list for that matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it right here next to Blight and the Twins. Also, this is another reason why I did create the B plus here, especially for Myers, just so I can be a little more specific when it comes to the rankings of these killers. So the B plus tier right here really does help a lot. So that's the reason why I did it. So this helps me put Myers in B tier instead of C tier like it did in my last video. Alright, so I think I have 2 more killers that belong in B tier. So next up is going to be Demogorgon. I love Demogorgon, okay? The Stranger Things chapter is probably one of my favorite chapters that came out in Dead by Daylight. When it comes to his power, guys, I think it's very good, especially when it comes to his portals. He can get from point A to point B really fast as long as the survivors don't cleanse the portals and get rid of it. And also when it comes to his power, his lunge attack, he can end chases fairly quickly if you time it right, because it's actually really easy to kind of avoid it when it comes to playing Survivor. But if you time it right, you can end chase it very quickly, and you can also use it to break pallets fairly quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and keep him right here in B tier. And the last killer for B tier is going to be the Plague and or Plague. Alright, I really enjoy using her, guys. She's really fun to use in the game. Her power can be very good if played correctly. She can literally infect survivors and kind of force them to cleanse, and if they do cleanse, they can go ahead and just make this killer that much stronger, or that the survivors can just not cleanse and stay one shot throughout the trial. So either way, it's kind of a win-win situation. So this killer is very good overall. I do think she belongs to B tier. I don't think she kind of belongs above that. Maybe B plus tier, but definitely not A or S. But I really don't think she belongs anywhere near lower than that. Ah, yes, we're down to the last 5 killers in Dead by Daylight right here. And this is kind of the fun part of the video, just because this brings out a lot of debate. And these are basically considered the not strong killers, not nearly as strong killers as these other killers over here in the game. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start with the Wraith. I do think the Wraith is kind of C tier material. I love Bing Bong, really fun to use. I'm going to go ahead and keep going, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that these, you know what the power of these killers, you know what they are, all right? And I do think Trapper is C tier as well. I love Trapper. I main Trapper. This is my favorite killer in the game and my best killer in the game, all right? So I do think he's not kind of last, but I do think he's somewhere near the bottom. Next up is gonna be, oh god, now this is where it gets a little hard, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and put Legion in D tier. And I love Piggy. I actually have a lot of fun playing Piggy, but I do think she needs a lot of work to be done, a lot of help. But we're gonna go ahead and put her in D tier as well, along with Legion and Clown. Let's be honest, let's just go ahead and leave Clown there. But of course, the Clown is going to be getting a power rework or adjustment, something like that in the future, in the very near future. So we got to definitely keep an eye out for that. But at the moment, I think the Clown is definitely one of the kind of weakest killers in the game. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that, guys. Definitely let me know your opinion down in the comments if you think I should maybe change a killer's positioning in the tier list, if you think I should bump them up a little bit or maybe bring them down just a little bit. Let me know down in the comments. It's always really fun making these tier list videos and seeing everyone's opinions on the killers and all that stuff. It definitely brings up a lot of debate. But that's all in good fun of making these killer tier list videos, seeing what people think, the whole community thinks, where these killers stand. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, definitely does help a lot. Follow me on Twitch if you guys want to see any DVD action live. I'm usually live every single night playing Dead by Daylight, so come out, we'll have some fun, and I'll see you guys next video I make. All right, peace.